I will share something.
All right, today we have ALDOT, who is here to speak to our students. And first time visiting our program, we welcome you here. We are interested to find out what kind of job opportunities you will have for students who are about to graduate, as well as if you do a co-op also, you might call it internship. We do have students who are also online who might be looking in, would want to submit their application. Now, what kind of jobs, what kind of work you all do there at ALDOT? All right. So the floor is yours. We're here until 1 o'clock.
Okay.
All right. Thank you again.
Well, we appreciate the opportunity to be here today. Like I said, we've done this quite a few times at other places for the engineering students. So we tried to put a little bit more interesting presentation together for y'all. Like I said, my name is Adam Anderson. I'm the Assistant State Design Engineer and Design Bureau at Montgomery. Wade will introduce more. Wade Seymour is our State Location Engineer, and then Dalton Chamley is the Assistant State Location Engineer. And location is pretty much where we house all our surveying and a large part of our CAD mapping services with all that. Kind of what we're going to do, I'm going to run through sort of quick portion, just kind of introduce you to ALDOT, what we do, kind of the overall mission of the Bureau, and then Wade's going to go a little deeper into some of the things we're doing with LiDAR on our projects. So those of you not familiar with ALDOT, we always start with the mission statement. Obviously, it's to provide a safe and efficient, environmentally sound intermodal transportation system for all users, especially the taxpayers of Alabama. We also aim to facilitate economic and social development and prosperity through the efficient movement of people and goods, and to facilitate intermodal connections in Alabama. It's a long mission statement. It used to be like one sentence, but we do get involved in a lot. Pretty much the only transportation we don't deal with is maritime and ports. We do have a lot of involvement with everything else. So ALDOT Design Bureau is basically broken down into 3 divisions. Preliminary Engineering Division, which is what we're all in, our final design, and our traffic engineering. Today I'm really not really going to get too much into traffic because it doesn't really pertain to what y'all do or what y'all are interested in. So preliminary is broken down in environmental coordination, environmental technical, our stormwater, and our location. But really only going to hit on a couple of these that location really helps in. So environmental technical, obviously it's a lot of environmental. You can say do a ton of environmental studies, all kinds of random things. That's not really engineering, surveying, geomatics based. But what they do have is a ton of data that has to be captured and mapped. So that's what location does, helps them out. You can see this map. This is what our biologists put together for Corps of Engineers permits. All that in blue is field staked wetland boundaries that our survey crews go out and shoot. Then our location sections brings that in and gives them a file so they can overlay it on the plans so we can get acreages. They also help out with property things. This is just an example of our statewide wetland mitigation banks. We have a number around the state, and so we have a lot of property that we deal with as well.
Do you use GIS to do all of these things?
Some, yeah. I mean, for plan development projects, mostly it's just CAD based to get the, what we need, drawings and things. But for information capture and storage, it's GIS based. We do use GIS for other things as well, for visualization for our public involvement and things like that. So really the meat of what we're here today is talk about location. Like I said, Wade Seymour is our state location engineer. And this is really where everything starts at DOT, is location section. Everything is born and conceptualized in location. And they do that through 2 different sides of the house. There's an engineering and a CAD and surveying side. So they do preliminary alignments and corridor studies, FAA clearances, traffic and toll studies, control location, topographic surveys. They deal with our aerial photography and LiDAR mapping assets and contracts, and then they maintain the Corps network in Alabama. Just a couple examples, and this one I'll tell you, this is going to be a recurring theme on this project. This is our diverging diamond interchange at State Route 181 and I-10 in Baldwin County. Just kind of want to show you conceptually how it makes it through the process at ALDOT. So this is the kind of things they do. We wanted to look at doing a diverging diamond, so location actually goes in there and does the conceptual layout to make sure we actually can get the geometry and everything we need to do that project. They also do bridge replacement studies. You see that's actually a new bridge on a new location. The existing bridge is in blue. You just see all the information they do for these location memorandums. And then larger corridor studies. This is one. I hadn't done a lot of large corridor studies in a while, but this is I-85 extension. Those of you from, or maybe familiar, that's the Montgomery Outer Loop out there where we have the interchange on I-85 going into Pike Road. Final design division, once it kind of makes through preliminary, we kind of start the process, the concepts and layouts and permitting and everything else that makes it to final design for plans. So they basically have 4 sections like preliminary, alternate delivery, special projects, that's basically design build. Then design services section, which keeps up with all of our standard drawings, contracts administrations with them, and then roadway design where all of our plans are drawn. And Dalton actually did work in roadway design before he came to location, so he's got experience in both. So if you work at ALDOT, everybody knows this is a title sheet for a set of plans. This is what final design actually produces. This is what we have to build a project. And in that project, in that set of plans that we build and give to contractors, you get a plan sheet that looks like this. This is that same diverging diamond. From people that work it out, contractors, engineers, people that deal with it, we can pull information off this. But you give that to the public, they have no clue what they're looking at. So one thing we do is we've gotten into doing some visualization, and this is that same project before and after the visualization was put on it, so we can visualize those plans on a drone. This is drone imagery. They can actually visualize and show public, show the engineers, show stakeholders, people making decisions, what that project's actually going to look like. Other things they do. This is an arch bridge in Mentone. This was a historical bridge we're replacing, so you had a lot of stakeholders that were worried about keeping the integrity of the looks of the structure and what was there. So this was the new bridge that was proposed, and then they do these kind of things to show the public and people who live in the area and historical society that we're going to maintain that integrity of that original structure, even though we're going to replace it with a new one. And that's kind of a long video. I'll let it turn and then move on here. But these are the kind of things we do. Like I said, from a conceptual standpoint with our final design is try to get something real world people can look at. And that just kind of flies over here.
I'm pretty sure this was done with, the state has drones as well. It was done with our drone, and this video was made down the hall from our office. It wasn't made in our office, or my office.
So you all use the drone data to create a 3D model?
They have mixed with aerial LiDAR. I think they got some LiDAR from us too.
Like the graphics I saw people there, I mean, those are additional things that you all have.
Yeah. So we do things like roundabouts. Like I said, this is aerial photography and drone LiDAR. Traffic. You got your supercars, in the county there. I'm sure there's multiple of those. But you can add traffic to these, model traffic in them. This one actually, I'll let you go through. It actually takes you through the actual interchange inside a vehicle, so the public can see what it's like, because roundabouts seem to be a source of contention for people.
Especially here.
Especially who can't use it. So if you're in your European Fiat on the right side of the road, you can drive through the roundabout virtually. And we really do a lot of these for public involvement, because when we go to public involvement, we roll out maps on a table. People really aren't good with lines and things, so showing them these kind of things with public involvement really help get buy-in from the public. I-85, this is another one. This one was one they did for construction. Kind of same thing. You can see existing. This is I-85 out near Opelika. I thought this was a good one to show because, location and Wade's crew, they do get involved in a lot of construction issues. Actually, this exact project, we had an issue with the abutments on this one's survey. So you can see they're going through the phases here. This is basically reconstructing the median portion of I-85. First phase of the bridges there. They're going to build the center of the bridges, grade and drain, the medians. And it'll go through, I think there's like 5 phases on this one, but it's pretty quick. Phase 2, you can see they're kind of through with that. And then what we're going to do is we've got to shift in traffic to the center of the new construction portion. And then we're going to rebuild the, I think that's northbound right there. There's that something. I can't see anything over there. But they're going to reconstruct these bridges on this side of the interstate. And then phase 3 is basically going to mirror this. We're going to move everybody over and move the southbound traffic to the middle, reconstruct northbound. See now we have a new side constructed. And shift this traffic to the middle and reconstruct this portion of bridges. And all this traffic on here is not real. This is not drone imagery. This is not drone video. This is actually drone imagery with model traffic and terrain. And one thing on here you can see, the good thing about this, you can kind of see, we kind of can visualize where our slopes tie down to existing ground, which is kind of nice when you're trying to see conceptually how things tie back in. Phase 5 is basically traffic's back to where it was on 85. They've still got the center cut down. Shut down. They're actually doing the center barrier pour. And that's all phase 5 was. You can see the concrete trucks in the median there. And they're doing some ramp work over here, grade and drain, next door, next to Tyler's in.
So you all use, to create this, you all use your LiDAR data software, drone software. Which software do you all use?
The drone software is,
Drone capture or something?
yeah,
like that?
Pix 4D and then,
What's the new one they're using for video? Is it something capture? Our drones are actually at our maintenance bureau. They handle all our drones. We have a UAS section that does all that.
yeah, we have a specific section that handles all the drone stuff now. Because they've gotten pretty big at flying projects and special construction projects. So.
It's like I said, this is just showing final. This is pretty much everything. You can kind of see there was some improvements to the ramp, repaving, tying the slopes back in, center barrier. This is wide enough here. We built these bridges for future 6 landing at 85, so that's why there's that large median there striped like that. But that's what the final looks like. This project's under construction now, so I'm not sure what phase it's in. It's been going about a year now, I think.
Yeah.
But that's, like I said, I want to give you a quick overview of kind of what design does. That scratches the surface. We didn't, like I said, there's so much we do. We tried to pull what might interest y'all and what applies to the degree y'all are getting. So I guess when Wade's through, we can kind of discuss, I guess we can discuss the employment stuff after you get through.
I'm going to kind of handle that. What we got going on.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. Like I said, I'll turn it over to Wade and he'll talk about some aerial LiDAR, aerial mobile LiDAR.
Yeah. Here's my bio. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it, but I graduated UAB in 2009 with a Bachelor of Science degree in Civil Engineering. I am a PE. Halfway there to getting PLS as well. I got the first test out of the way, so just throw that out there if you are interested in anything and do want to talk to us. Hopefully by the time you get there and get on with us, then that way you will be working under registered PLS, so you didn't go to school for nothing. So I know how that works. So I started in 2010, so I've only been here 12 years. Became a party chief of the survey crew in 2013. Moved to the central office May 2015 because I had kids. I got married, had kids. Our survey crews work 410s. They work statewide, so they're on the road and do 410s, but I'll get more than that later. And then Got my P license in 2017. Taking the FS, it's out of the way, got it out of the way in December. So hopefully be dual license, like I said a while ago. And you already heard I'm the current state location engineer, so for about a year now. Not quite a year, but almost. All right, so the LiDAR types we use, we have aerial, which is fixed wing craft that we have contracts with every county in the state of Alabama, and we fly them about every 3 years. We'll get a third of the state in, so it's updated on that schedule. Like I said, we have access to the drones if we need to use it for any reason. We just call downstairs. That's the matter where we do our mobile scanning. It's housed downstairs, but a lot of our survey projects, especially on interstates, since safety is an issue, we do mobile scanning and then do all that CAD work in the office. And terrestrial scanners, we have not got one yet, but I'm pushing for my survey manager to start this next go round when he orders equipment to get a terrestrial scanner. I have been involved with them. This picture that is on the screen, if you don't notice it, it's downtown Birmingham, the bridges that were replaced downtown. And we use mobile scan and terrestrial on it with a consultant. So, like I said, you probably know the accuracies, so I'm not going to bore you with those. They're there on the screen. You probably know how the aerial LiDAR is flown. There's a fixed wing plane, sends it back and forth. We have all the data that we get is collected at QL2, and then which is no less than 2 points per square meter. Aerial, it's the same thing with the LiDAR, or we have photos too with the LiDAR with all 67 counties that are updated. So we have a statewide image server that, I mean, we have just background photos, and like I said, we have the aerial LiDAR as well. All the aerial LiDAR
Is that the same for those that Philip Henderson, their project was doing? Do you know Philip Henderson from the GIS department?
No, I don't.
I know it was a statewide project where people would, subscribe, pay $50,000, and they would fly at various scales.
I think that's a different thing. A lot of ours come from federal. It's federal highway money. We call it the Hot Mod program. That's where a lot of, I think, this comes from. And
so by
you know John Russell.
Yes.
He's downstairs over maintenance now, and he still handles all that. So.
Okay. For you want to get any equipment, it's easy for you to get any type of equipment?
As far as our total stations and all that, we basically deal with Leica. That's our dealer. That's who we get our stuff from.
That's the expensive one.
But this is, we put up a certain amount of money and the counties put up the rest. They actually get the data and then we just get it from them on drives and we house it on our server. So I think there are several counties that we pay for more, but it's better picture quality and LiDAR data would be better. And a lot of those is flown through a contracted company. I think we use, what's the name? Can't remember. I know we use Michael Baker, but that's not the one I'm thinking of. I can't think of that at the moment. But and they do all the checking as far as the QA, QC process and all that. Now, we use a lot of that open LiDAR or wooded LiDAR on our surveys and we'll spot check it. And all this checking out good. I mean, we roll with it on the surveys. So we usually have the 1 foot contour accuracy. There's a picture of our mobile scan outfit. It's like a Pegasus, and our crews are responsible for going and set all the control for the mobile scan, and then maintenance downstairs who has the scanner, they do the initial processing, and then they send us a point cloud, and then we extract break lines and whatever else. We've just started in the past couple of years. Anything we can get out of it, we get out of it, and the field crew picks up the rest. So this is where it's heading. It's headed to a CAD-based aerial LiDAR, mobile LiDAR period program. So, they drive the roadways at 50 to 60, like that, just go up and down the interstate, run a normal speed to collect this data. And then, like I said, they deliver us in LAS format. That's how we roll when we do a mobile scan. We usually have state troopers behind us that pretty much shut the road down so no cars can get in the data area. So that way we don't have voids. We use these for everything. Projects from consultants, for consultants, projects from the region, our own projects that we do in-house, that Adam was talking about in roadway, those that design those, we do them.
Yeah, I guess I'll just to show you kind of where it's going. We have a 80-mile design build project going right now, but 30% timber on that project is being pushed using LiDAR. That's
The whole temp is being pushed using aerial LiDAR.
So, you talk about speeding up a project getting to construction, it's kind of the way it's going. It's pretty good. So
Yeah, it's been pretty good so far. Like I said, we check everything and make sure it's good to use. These mobile scan files are pretty large when they come in, so look in the point cloud out, and then we create a digital terrain file, DTM file, to design off of from it. We use it for hydraulics, transportation projects, flood mapping, archaeological sites, forestry, precision ag, stormwater and geology, setting right-of-ways and construction limits. We can, even after design, like I said, this is the picture on the screen there. It was mainly for a check as to that bridge was built the way it was supposed to be built. So we had to come up with a DTM for that, so we could send it down the hall. They check it and say, yeah, they did what they're supposed to. So, I mean, we can get all hard surfaces, pavement drains, and areas with dense vegetation. They all got to be field surveyed. So it won't ever be completely LiDAR. We will still have a need for the traditional survey, but it's headed more towards the LiDAR area. But that's usually the point cloud we get. This is a piece of aerial LAS. That was everything. And then we have it classified, so buildings, water, and all that's taken out of it. We create a point cloud out of it and get it to, it can only be so large before it will blow up the computer. And we usually push it to the limits, but we try to keep it around 1.5 million points. And vertical tolerance under 10. That's what we're usually, our aspects when we run it to thin it out is no more than a tenth and between points, so difference in elevation. So you have a very dense point cloud. That's why I try to keep it that small. And like I said, you create your DTM from it, that same point cloud, there's contours for it and your triangles. So once we get done, that is a surface that final design or whoever can design off of it. They can do a hydro analysis, which was also done on that bridge right there. I don't think we did that in-house. I think they had a consultant do that. But like I said, once it's verified, it's used straight for design. This is really going through the mobile scan that aerial, that LiDAR I just showed you was from aerial LiDAR. We have two types of control we use for mobile scan, relative and absolute. If we're just looking at correcting cross slopes on a roadway, we'll do it in relative. Absolute is survey grade data. We went to it for the safety of our people. It's much quicker than having boots on the ground, really shooting that stuff. It is cheaper because, like I said, we work statewide. You're on the road 4 days a week, staying in a hotel. We pay you expenses, and then maintenance of the trucks and just overhead. It's about $20,000 a week for one of our survey crews to survey something. So, whereas the scan, it's usually about $40,000 to do the scan, and that's including the control set for it. Could be more if you have to do the absolute, because our panel points, I was trying to see if I was getting ahead of myself, but our panel points are, I'll go ahead and go. This is what the point cloud looks like after the mobile scan. Our guys go in there, they'll create their brake lines in a cross-section view. You can exaggerate that cross-section view and you can see the crown and the edge of pavement, toes and all that. You just put a brake line in there and run it. That's what our office does, a lot of. You can see there's the lines that they have for edge of pavement, paved shoulder, center line. And then these white lines, or these cross lines here, cross sections, those are points that are put across the pavement every half a foot. So create the DTM from it. And that's it, triangulated. Once again, it's ready for design. Our absolute accuracy, our control points are set roughly 750 to 800 foot. And it's just basically a chevron painted on the ground with a nail at the end. So when the scanner runs by there, it picks up that nail. And there's an elevation on that nail. And when they process it downstairs, that point cloud is tied to it. And it's, like I said, it's survey grade. So just really a repeat. So DTM that's ready for final design. It really started with the correct and cross slope issues, but then we ventured out into doing the design off of it. People seeing that we could do that and that DTM was actually really good. So downstairs, they use that mobile scan. I mean, it's not just for us. They use it and they have road inventory. Then they need to go put some more paint out on the ground, and they need to go put some more markers down, and they need to go fix a sign or put up a sign. So these are just some of the data we get from these scan data, and this is one I cut cross sections on, just kind of showing that it is accurate. I don't know if I zoomed in on it. I probably didn't, but I mean, it's very accurate. Most of those are within our tolerance of cross slopes. So the data is very accurate, and our guys do a good job at making sure we extract and get what is needed from a preliminary survey. There was a profile that we made. This goes back to the bridges downtown where we did the mobile scan versus the terrestrial scan. And at the very end, you can see this green line. That's the profile of those two on top of each other. So between a terrestrial scanner and a mobile scanner, there's not much difference at all. Like I said, the mobile scan is safer, faster, cheaper, and you get more detailed design services. Of course, it's dependent on good GPS. Some items still have to be field survey. That's the only drawback to it. Large surface, you can get very large surfaces. So sometimes you have to break it up and have multiple files. But as far as the mobile scan goes, I think we're limited to about, I think it's 70 foot outside of that scanner as to where the data starts getting kind of out of whack. But so you got a pretty good reach, but for roadway anyways. Overpasses have caused a drop when we run under them and signal, and you could have a bump in the data. As we know, LiDAR and water don't really mix, so wet roadways, we tried that on a section, I think they scanned it in Coleman that was still wet or somewhat wet after it quit raining, and yeah, that scan, we had to go back and rescan it. So spacing of control points, we have learned that you can spread those out further sometimes you have to bring them in, depending on what kind of horizon you got. Of course, faster is better. Nowadays, I'm sure you all know with everything, we want it now. So, and as he said, really, location is the begin all for everything. Matter of fact, I think it was on that project he showed you with the bridge on 85. It was in construction. And there was something that went wrong in survey. They come back to me. Of course, we didn't survey it, but I had to figure out for them what the consultant did. So, I mean, you're involved in all aspects in our office. There's no telling what kind of requests you might get. I'm sorry, I probably blocked your way. But like I said, wooded areas still need to be checked. That is the terrestrial scan and mobile scanner. You can see here, I can't remember which one's which, but the terrestrial scan is set up. I don't know if y'all dealt with them much, but set up and you shoot like 400 foot this way, 400 foot this way. So kind of, that's where that difference comes from. I spent the time to go through and a whole point cloud on that bridge and came up with a conclusion and configuration. That's what it was. I mean, it's just how you tie your control down. Because we only tied it down I think on that bridge it was done every 1,000 feet. And they were tying it down a little bit closer. They tied it down with every point, I think. And then we only used the 2 endpoints for the mobile scan. So really probably could have been tighter, laid on top of each other, but that was, like I said, this is an experiment we've really done on our own when we had the opportunity to, since the bridge was shut down. As you can see, it picks up everything. This is going on during construction. You can see the barrels, you can see the joint in the bridge that's not been filled yet. The little drive past there. Bridge clearances. On all our projects, we have to include those. Those are captured by the mobile scan, and we have to send those out as well. This is a scan done, and I can't remember what time it was in, but I got them. This may have been Jasper or somewhere along those lines. But this is from the mobile scanner, so you can see those buildings that are on the road. Kind of goes back to that modeling that Adam had showed earlier. If we have the mobile scan data, LiDAR point cloud, we could model that downtown with our program. So it would be the same way with a roadway or a bridge or whatever it is. Just a really cross-section view there, showing the buildings. Like I said, you can see the detail that we get from the data. Power line clearances, that's the one that shows the water fountain over there. Yeah. But, I mean, going forward, like I said, this is what it's moving to, LiDAR. I don't think I mentioned it, but also in our office, along with the survey, and for in my office, the surveying, he mentioned the corridor study side that's laying stuff out before the get-go. We have the photography The LiDAR's housed, parcel data. We get that from the counties. So if you're familiar with GIS, we use a lot of it. The cores units, I know y'all have one here on campus. That's controlled, or I'm in charge of that in my office. It's actually under Dalton's side. Field survey manager is really handling it, but we manage 52 sites throughout the state. I believe we got one in just about every county. They're spaced about 40 kilometers apart per specs. But so, I mean, that's all the presentation we got, but we definitely, as state location engineer, I mean, the survey side, I mean, I know I've heard a lot of people, engineers and surveyors don't like people, or like each other too much, but they really work hand in hand. That's why location has two sides. We're to a point now that with the work that we do, the projects we do, the CAD we have to do, the stuff we manage, we are in need of surveyors, people who know CAD, people who know GIS, because a lot of projects we have, like I said, we use the parcel data, and that'll be a layout for our property along that project. And of course, our field crews go out there and find the property pins, and we rotate it and pull the deeds and make sure everything's correct. But that's just a start.
You use the CAD, you use MicroStation.
MicroStation. Right now, we're currently in the process of moving from inroads to open roads.
Our students, Civil 3D and some cards. Typically, it's part of our curriculum, CAD, Civil 3D. It doesn't mean that they kind of do MicroStation.
Yeah.
It's similar.
Oh, no. Matter of fact, open roads is more along the lines of Civil 3D and AutoCAD. The way it's set up, the ribbons at the top and all your tools, that's how open roads is set up. So we have, like I said, opportunities, and that's why we wanted to come here today. If anyone is interested, surveying wise, GIS, we're looking for people, because all my party chiefs right now could go to the house any day they wanted to, and I have nobody to take their spot. As far as this round of all of our field crews, we have, what is there, 5, including GPS? 5 field crews and a control crew.
And your service area is Montgomery?
Statewide. So, yeah.
How does that look for an intern though? Would an intern be at an office mainly doing office work, or would they be traveling and getting like stipends for that?
Have we talked about the intern for?
We have, you know, it's one of those.
I mean, we've talked about it, but I don't know if he's taking it higher than.
Okay.
But
Anything we do, we have to go through state personnel. So we have strictly engineering training positions that they set up years ago. We're trying to get geomatics and survey kind of added to that same thing, which takes a while. We do have student aid positions. The problem with those, they don't pay enough to get anybody to want to come. But you know, our view of an internship, or it's just like a co-op. We want you to come in and, you know, however you want to do it. If you want to do it like the co-op, I don't know if y'all do co-op through this program.
Yes.
You know, if you come in a whole semester, I mean, I'm sure however way you want to do it, you probably want to do everything. Be out in the field for a couple months, be in the office learning CAD, seeing everything. I mean, I want you to see everything. Because
I mean,
most everybody in location, Wade started out in the field on the field crew. Aaron Moses, who's on engineering, started on the field crew. Yeah, I'm a firm believer in anything else is getting out and being hands-on with everything, whether in construction or design. Starting out the field is the best way to go, because you get to see, concepts on paper are great, but when you get out in the field and realize the issues in construction, then it's, to me, it makes you better at putting it on paper, because you kind of can see what's coming. So we'd like to see everybody get experience in the field, even from an intern or an early employee.
Yeah, intern or people that are fixing to graduate. We got positions that we could fill out in the field and the office. So the opportunity is there. And I'm willing to, I think at one time it was kind of built up to pretty good, the surveying side was pretty stacked. It's kind of dwindling down now. We used to have, I think they used to have about 50 folks out there. We now have 26. It's hard to find people to do the work, want to do the work, want to be outside. And I understand that. It's just generation gaps. But like I said, we had the opportunity in the field and the office as far as working on computer, GIS, dealing with a lot of our data. Like I said, all my party chiefs right now could go any day they wanted to. I only have a couple of people that could probably take that spot, or able to take that spot. And then our data editor, each crew has a data editor, and I think we have 2 crews now that does not have a data editor, of getting the data that they shoot out there in the field, downloading it, working it up. And that's not just that you're stuck on that computer all day, every day out in the field. Like I said, I started as assistant party chief, kind of doing the computer. Then I went to field supervisor, then back to data editor. And working with the data, I'd get it done, and I'd go out and field and help the crew. You get to see a lot of interesting things working statewide. As far as parts of the state, what you're surveying. Fort Payne, Alabama is a very pretty place, and I've surveyed a lot of it, so I always enjoyed being up there. But most definitely.
You can be away from home for a few weeks.
No, it's 4 days a week. You come home every week. So you'll be home Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And Monday, our field crews leave out of Montgomery at 6 o'clock. And then they return about 4 o'clock, 3 or 4 o'clock on Thursday. So. And working during the week, Tuesday and Wednesday. Work time starts at 6 and you end at 4. And like I said, you're paid a per diem every day working out there in the field. You leave in a state vehicle and return in a state vehicle. So, I mean, you can choose to drive your personal vehicle if you want to, but that's just preference, I guess.
And you could be working on multiple projects at the same time.
Yes, you can. You could be on this project one week and going somewhere different the next week. Kind of hard to say you will be localized.
I think that part of what we do is kind of gone.
Yeah.
Because like I said, Wade.
When I was out there, I started in Demopolis, and that's where I was every week. We were working on 43, lining on 43, surveying it, and
Because we used to have survey offices, but like, how long were you on Birmingham North Bella?
year and a half.
Yeah. So most of them are, send them up there for a week, 2 or 3, get it done.
Yeah. Believe it or not, we used to actually go and find a building that was for lease, set up an office somewhere in a strip mall and work out of it for a little while, but I believe those days are behind us. We don't really have any long corridor projects like that anymore.
Even like on West Alabama.
Yeah.
it's all starting with LiDAR now, so maybe.
Can you give them an idea about the employment package for this?
Yeah, we got some, I guess Adam, you wanna go through that?
Yeah, we've got a couple things. I'll tell you, there again, it goes back to the lovely portions of administration is dealing with our personnel folks. We have a couple of positions there. We have one that's a transportation technologist. That specifically has a geomatics language in there, but we're actually trying to push them to, we have a new position. It's called it's a GIS specialist, but it's pretty broad. That's just what they're calling it right now, which a little bit higher starting pay. We're actually trying to get personnel to 100% blast geomatic grads into that position. I don't think we'll have a problem. We just can't tell you 100% right now would, but you know, get one of those. As far as the overall package, obviously salary. Two, it's a government job. I mean, there's a lot to be said about job security. We know what we're doing every day. We know we're coming to work, which has been nice. Retirement plan. There is a retirement package through Retirement Systems of Alabama that has a bunch of different things. Our insurance is still relatively cheap, which is nice. Very cheap compared to most private sectors. And then the biggest thing ALDOT can offer, sometimes we can't match salaries in the private sector, sometimes we can. One thing we do offer is the ability to learn training. I mean, we'll see the training we'll get your hands on. And that's one good thing about the state is the opportunities for training and advancement and things like that. So, like I said, if you got any questions, obviously let us know. We got some business too.
I'll just leave these with you and you can, they can grab them from you, pass them out. Like I said, if anybody's interested, my information's on there. Call me, send me an email. We'll set something up. Like I said, I do have available positions right now. If you are getting ready to graduate in May.
How do you plan to satisfy that criteria where when you become a licensed surveyor, you need to have a minimum number of hours of doing boundary survey?
Yeah.
Did you address that with the licensure board? Because a lot of what you're doing there is amazing technology.
Yeah.
Great. But it's the old school boundary survey.
Yeah. I will know more about that when I go through, probably have to face the board when I become PLS, but we are technically, well, I mean, we're not signing off on it. I'm not stamping and signing a piece of paper, but we are doing boundary surveys out there when we collect property. We basically have to do a boundary survey to do that. So we can do it that way. Like I said, and if you work 4 days a week, if you're in the field, you got Friday to help somebody you may know with surveying or do your own survey. So.
Yeah, Brian kind of went through that same thing.
Yeah.
Location engineer before Wade that was in it for 15, 16 years, Brian Ingram, he was dual licensure in PE, PLS, and so he went through that whole process and this kind of helping Wade through as well.
Yeah.
So.
Like I said, I'll more than likely have to go face the board when I pass the PLS and have to sit there and go through a stringent process. Hopefully I have no issues with that.
I've got a class at 1, so I'm.
All right,
Okay.
you want more questions?
Good.
Thank you all very much. We will have that information on
Yeah.
the YouTube thing and also
Right.
we want to invite you back again. All right, so whenever
Anytime.
you're ready, Mr. Lee's have your contact information,
Yes.
so, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank y'all for coming.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Yeah, you don't have a problem with him taking the rest of those, do you?
No.
Sure.
We will share it online, so it's.
Like I said, we'll try to find, we would like to get interns in. We've talked about it. We'd love to get some co-op students in that want to come work a summer or a fall and work,
field crew survey, Zoom goes on the office, it's just moving them out with our state personnel sometimes, so.
We've been trying to get around